Wow, I can't believe it. It's been 20 years since the L.A. riots back in 1992. April 29th,
Hey folks,
1992.
some things in life we try to forget, but we know they still exist. 20 years ago, yesterday, was the LA riots, April 26, 1992. Is not all that good for me. For one, let me start off by explaining some things to you. First of all, I was 7 months pregnant with my son, and I remember that evening seeing smoke outside and fires going on, and I know it was the verdict from Rodney King, what happened to him previously the year prior to that. He had some issues with the police, and then this year things didn't go so well. They had a riot in Los Angeles. But in regards to the riot, I remember I was at my cousin's house. She stayed in Westchester. My mom called me and told me, Kristen, whatever you do, do not leave the house. I said, okay, no problem. So I spent the night over there. That next day I came home. And when I came home, got dressed, and me and my son's father at the time, we had left. We were going to the Beverly Center to buy some clothes for the baby that we were having. So as we got up to Crenshaw and Stocker in Los Angeles, he was going to buy some gas. And so I was sitting in the car, and he had a green Chevy Impala glass house. And so he gets out the car and he goes to pay for the gas. And as he's walking up to pay for the gas, two police come up, driving up in the car, and told me to get out the car. And I said, okay. And I get out the car, and I happened to be holding a 40-ounce Old English with no top on it inside the car. I asked him what did he want me to do with the beer. He told me just drop it. So I happened to drop it, and of course it was like a movie. It just the beer went all over the place. And then my son's father was coming to the car, and he was like, what's going on? And I said, I don't know, they just told me to get out the car. And so then like four National Guards drove up in like in the tanks, told us to leave. And I'm like, wow, he told me to get out and they're telling me to leave. So next thing you know, I'm getting handcuffed. And getting handcuffed for what? I don't know, because me and him haven't even done anything. So across the street, which was the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Mall, they had a substation for the LAPD. And at that time, it was in like a little camper. So they had handcuffed me, handcuffed him, and this would happen to be on a Thursday, which was April 30th, which was the second day, the same day. My mother told me do not leave the house. I was not listening, I guess, because I was, young then. So then I went to jail on that Thursday. It was too crowded to go to court on that Friday. They don't have court Saturday and Sunday. On that Monday it was crowded, and on that Tuesday I got released due because I had a job working through a temp agency called Manpower. So they said that we were arrested because we were at the wrong place at the wrong time, which it said we were at Bell Cells, which really that's located off of Vermont and King, but we got arrested on Stocker and Crenshaw. So it was dropped and the case was dismissed and we were let out. And do you know that when I was leaving the jail in the morning, at like 5 o'clock in the morning, the women that was in there, I had my hair braided, and it almost looks like this in dreadlocks, but it was actually French braid with fake hair. They were saying, oh, don't you want to sell your hair? And I was like, no. They said, you could sell it for $10. How do I look walking out the gym with no hair, no braids in my hair? I didn't want to look crazy, so I kept my hair. So anyway, looking back on 1992, assessing how far we've come in 20 years. That is April 29th, 1992. At approximately 3:30 p.m., Los Angeles and surrounding communities convulsed in a fiery, bloody wave of civil unrest that lasted nearly a week. 53 lives were lost, thousands were injured, arson and other forms of destruction sent. Estimates of property damage north of 1 billion in many cases, devastating communities that were the least equipped to recover. Soldiers patrolled the streets with automatic weapons drawn, shocking a nation that watched agape as its second largest city became a war zone in a matter of minutes. It was crazy because it was the clouds were dark, it was orange, and it was just scary. It didn't feel right. And the upheaval was sparked by the not guilty verdicts of delivered minutes earlier in the Rodney King beating case. In a Simi Valley courtroom, a nearly all-white jury set free, at least temporarily, the 4 LAPD officers caught on video carrying out the vicious videotaped beating of the staggering black motorist. Though many in the African American community identified with King and felt sympathy for what he had endured 1 year earlier, the unrest centered in historically Black L.A. was about more than the acquittal of the officers. In other words, as the violence, burnings, and lootings were, from them sprang an amongst critic of L.A. for decades in the minds of many who participated or watched. Finally, someone was listening. Now, amongst all of that going on, we had a lot of stuff going on also. The second night, there were fires on Crenshaw and Imperial, some looting on Manchester and Hillcrest at the Radio Shack. In that sense, there were sporadic instances of hooligans, but you also had a number of community activists and gang interventionists out on the streets engaging young men and women. I think we were all let down and felt that let down by the justice system. I remember on Crenshaw and Vernon, there was a nail shop that I used to go to, and they would have about 20 to 30 chairs in there, and they did very, very good nails. That would be the acrylic nails that goes on with the designs, and I believe it was like $10 back then for your hands. Now I believe it's like $20 for your nail set, plus like $5 for a design on one nail, not on all of them, and that could range you anywhere from like $20 to $30. Then they also had there was a laundromat up there on Crenshaw and 48th Street, and it was burnt down during the riots. Let's see. First of all, we were stunned, then deeply disappointed. That's when people hit the streets at Florence and Normandy. We called for peace and calm, but unfortunately, because of the pent-up anger, regrettably, people engaged in violence and destruction. That's where Reginald Denny was pulled out of his truck and beaten and hit in the head with a brick. And this is horrible, the way we were living out here in Los Angeles. Oh, Los Angeles was built all right. The L.A. we see today is not the L.A. we remember 20 years ago. If Tom Bradley was alive today, he wouldn't even recognize downtown L.A. Stop that, but if Tom Bradley was alive today, he wouldn't even recognize downtown L.A. or the West Side or the Valley or Koreatown or even Hollywood. But he would damn sure recognize South L.A. because it hasn't changed that much except for the mall. Inside the mall, they have a police station actually inside now. Maverick's Flat has reopened, and that Crenshaw now has a Buffalo Wild Wings. Their area down there by Albertsons off of 39th Street, and there's a Denny's in there, which happens to be one of the hangout spots next to Starbucks, but they had to close down Marie Callender's and Sizzlers. And let's see, what else? I'm trying to remember all this information. And I can't even talk. I remember watching the verdict on TV, and I was like, wow, I can't believe this is going on. I'm talking about scared. Yes, I was scared. First of all, oh shoot, I wanted to show the picture of the people. This is not good. Okay, these are all the people. The LA riots by the numbers. So that was March 3rd, 1991. That's when Rodney King was beaten by the police. 3:15 p.m. verdict read in the Rodney King beating case, acquitted 4 officers of all charges. 53 number of deaths resulting from the riots. 3 to 4 number of gunshot victims shot by someone other than the police. 3,600 fires reported. May 1st, 92. On this, the 3rd day of rioting, Rodney King asked people, I just want to say, you know, can we all just get along? 2,499 estimated number of injuries, 249 of them critical, 14,000 National Guard troops deployed. I believe it because I was with some of them. 1 billion estimated amount of property damage. 94% of damaged buildings were commercial buildings, retail stores. Most of them were nail shops owned by a lot of Korean families. 350 liquor stores either completely or partially destroyed. 40% of destroyed businesses that closed their doors for good. 16,000 number of riot-related crimes. 6,559 number of arrests. 26,000 increase in jail population in immediate aftermath of the unrest. 6:30 p.m. beating the original Denny is captured on live television. 11,500 jobs lost as a result of the civil unrest. 240 million in related annual wages lost. This is sad. My shirt reads, no color lines, judgment of character, not skin tone. And my earrings represent peace because I wish this world could come together as one. And to say all that is, I'm not a prejudiced person. I never have been. My first boyfriend was white. My second one was black. Third one was Mexican. I had a Puerto Rican one. And I love everyone of all color and all nationality. So, like Rodney King, can we all just get along? That's me pregnant at 7 months. And that's the car we got arrested in. That's the beer he's holding. That was earlier that day.